Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the academic procession and the Chancellor.
I declare that the 510th Convocation of McMaster University for the conferring of degrees is now in session.
Please be seated. Good afternoon. I am Dr. David Wilkinson, Provost and Vice President Academic at McMaster University. This afternoon I have the great pleasure of acting as your Master of Ceremonies and of welcoming you all to this Convocation ceremony. Before we start our formal program, may I first ask that everyone in the hall switch off any electronic device that may ring or beep during the ceremony. I would now like to call upon our Chancellor, Dr. Linton Wilson, to make his own welcoming remarks.
Very good afternoon to all of you. President and Vice Chancellor, Provost, Dean Kelton, Dean Sutherland, Dean Secular, members of the Platform Party, and I'd like to acknowledge our partners from Maastricht University, University of Maastricht, Dr. de Mols, Dr. Moles, Dr. Van Marode, and Dr. DeBee. Welcome them on your behalf. Graduands, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to this 510th Convocation of McMaster University. To those graduating, you've reached an important milestone, an exciting milestone in your lives. Many of you will begin careers, embarking on new journeys. Some of you will be continuing your education, training, or preparation for more advanced or specialized activities. My congratulations and very best wishes to each and every one of you. To the parents, grandparents, family members, spouses, and friends here today, you may bask in reflected glory and take pride in the accomplishments being recognized in this convocation. Congratulations to you as well. To our faculty and staff, today marks tangible recognition of your efforts, particularly the successes of your students evident in this ceremony. Thank you all for your many contributions. I wish you all an enjoyable afternoon. Thank you.
I would now like to introduce Dr. Patrick Dean, President and Vice Chancellor, who will be presenting our honorary degree recipient.
Mr. Chancellor, by the authority of the Senate of McMaster University, I have the honor to present Her Royal Highness Princess Margriet of the Netherlands. Margriet Francisca, Princess of the Netherlands, Princess of Orange-Nassau, and Princess of Lippe-Biesterfeld, is the third daughter of Princess Juliana and Prince Bernhard, and the sister of Queen Beatrix. Her story, however, is about far more than her place in the royal house of the Netherlands. Hers is a story that combines experience of century-defining geopolitical events with a highly personal mission of service, and Her Royal Highness has chosen to connect that mission significantly to both Canada and McMaster University. Her Royal Highness Princess Margriet was born in Ottawa in 1943, where her family had been living since June 1940, following the German occupation of the Netherlands. In a moving acknowledgement of her family's unique circumstances, the specific premises where Princess Margriet was born were placed temporarily outside the jurisdiction of Canadian law so that she could have just Dutch nationality. The royal family returned to the Netherlands after the country's liberation in 1945. But throughout her life, Princess Margriet has been committed to fostering the close relationship between Canada and the Netherlands that was so much a part of the first 2 years of her life. Princess Margriet received her post-secondary education from the University of Montpellier in France, where she studied French literature, history, and art history. She later studied law at Leiden University and received training as a nursing auxiliary first class on a Red Cross hospital ship and at more conventional dry land locations. This training foreshadowed a dedication to healthcare that has engaged her with organizations both in the Netherlands and internationally. Until 2011, she was vice chair of the Netherlands Red Cross and from 1995 until 2003, she was chair of the Standing Commission of the International Red Cross and Red Crescent Movement, the movement's highest international body. Since 2005, Princess Margriet has been a member of the governing board of the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies. Her service to the Red Cross dates back more than 4 decades to when she began volunteering with her local branch in the Netherlands. A member of several advisory committees related to health sciences and healthcare, including summer camps for young cancer patients and the National Rehabilitation Fund, Princess Margriet is also the patroness of a number of organizations with related missions, including the SOS Children's Villages. Her service extends as well into arts and culture, as evidenced by her role as a patron or board member for organizations such as the Netherlands America Foundation, the Itlu Palace Museum, the National Union of Volunteers, and the European Cultural Foundation, which she chaired for a remarkable 24 years. Princess Margriet has also made important contributions to the McMaster University community. In her role as honorary chair of the advisory board for the Master of Science Global Health Program at McMaster and Maastricht University, she is committed to education in global health and to the training of future leaders to work in complex environments around the world. This work also demonstrates her commitment to the performance and governance of the Master of Science Global Health Program and the development of the partnership between the 2 universities. Mr. Chancellor, Her Royal Highness Princess Margriet of the Netherlands has dedicated her life to public service in many forms. McMaster University, along with dozens of other institutions in the Netherlands and around the world, has benefited from her steadfast leadership in healthcare and health sciences in particular. In recognition of these contributions, I ask that you confer upon Her Royal Highness the degree Doctor of Laws, honoris causa.
Royal Highness, by the authority of McMaster University Senate, I have the great pleasure to confer upon you the degree Doctor of Laws, honoris causa in McMaster University, with all the rights and privileges pertaining to that degree. Congratulations to you. Please sign the registry.
Where do you want me to sign? Here?
Would you like to speak now? Yes. Our latest alumna, celebrated alumna of this university, will address Convocation. Your Highness.
Thank you. President Dean, Chancellor Wilson, first of all, I would like to thank you for your kind words and the honorary degree that McMaster University has bestowed on me. This honorary degree underlines the valuable partnership between McMaster University and Maastricht University. Both universities use problem-based learning as educational method. They aim to offer innovative and international educational programs such as the Global Health Program, which gives graduates a better understanding of this domain and equips them to handle new challenges in global health, thus contributing to the goal of the World Health Organization, equitable access to essential care for all. Healthcare and humanitarian issues have been my main interest for many years. They're particularly close to my heart in view of my work with the Red Cross in the Netherlands and internationally. The reason I was asked to become the honorary chair of the Advisory Board on Global Health was due to the fact that I've been involved in the Red Cross for more years than I actually care to disclose here. We in the Red Cross are committed through our fundamental principles to bringing assistance to the most vulnerable and threatened people of this world. People threatened by diseases, hunger, malnutrition caused by man-made or natural disasters. Making the voices of the victims of these vicissitudes heard has been and is the underlying motive for my involvement with the Red Cross movement. In 1966, I started my work for the Netherlands Red Cross, and since 1967, I've been involved internationally. I took part in all international conferences and most international meetings, giving me the opportunity to enlarge my understanding of all angles of Red Cross work. What made me choose for the Red Cross was its guiding fundamental principles. They are humanity, impartiality, neutrality, independence, voluntary service, unity, and universality, of which humanity and impartiality are for me the most inspiring. These impressed me, and I took them into my heart. I was hooked for life. They are universal in that they represent universal values, which touch a chord in all of us. They are valid in different cultures and through different religious or political environments. These principles are endorsed in more than 187 countries, which have a Red Cross or Red Crescent society. They are the basis on which a total of 225 million members, volunteers, and dedicated staff operate throughout the world, both locally and globally. I firmly believe in these principles, which inspire, encourage, and facilitate at all times all forms of humanitarian work by the Red Cross, with the aim to prevent and alleviate human suffering, thereby contributing to the maintenance and promotion of human dignity and peace in the world. We are often the first responders in emergencies. When fate strikes, the Red Cross volunteers on the ground often risk their lives while bringing assistance to the victims. That this is courageous, yet extremely dangerous work is proved by the loss of already 7 Red Crescent volunteers killed in action in Damascus, Aleppo, Homs, and other cities in Syria. As we all know, the needs are greater than ever, with a growing number of people affected each year by disasters, disease, and conflicts, often in combination. The call for and expectations of an effective response are growing, and so is the need to find lasting solutions. In 2011, the International Red Cross launched a campaign, Healthcare in Danger, that aims to address the widespread and severe impact of illegal and sometimes violent acts that obstruct the delivery of healthcare, damage or destroy facilities and vehicles, and injure or kill healthcare workers and patients in armed conflicts and other emergencies, such as urban violence. Violence against the wounded and the sick, and against healthcare facilities and personnel, is one of the most crucial yet overlooked humanitarian issues of today. In conflict and upheavals all over the world, violence disrupts healthcare services at the moment when they are needed most. Combatants and civilians die of injuries that they ought to survive because they are prevented from receiving the timely medical assistance to which they have a right. One of the aims is to raise awareness of this issue and lobby for the adoption and implementation of specific measures to ensure that health care can be delivered safely in armed conflicts and other emergencies. This will help to build a community of concern among healthcare practitioners, health-oriented NGOs, and others who can influence the current situation. The mission of the International Red Cross is consistent with the activities and aims of the Global Health Programme, to study the global impact of health-affecting events like epidemics, natural disasters, and inequities in access to health services. Access to those affected by these events is an everyday challenge for all of us. The need to partner with all those concerned is greater than ever. I am honored to be involved in this program, especially because of its partnering with McMaster University in Canada, my country of birth. My mother and two sisters found shelter in Canada during the Second World War. As you've heard, I was born in Ottawa in the civil hospital, where the room was declared Dutch territory, thus denying me Canadian nationality. Nevertheless, I feel Canada is my second homeland. In the Netherlands, we keep alive the memory of Canada's pivotal role in the liberation of our country. School children tend the graves of Canadian soldiers who paid the ultimate price to bring us freedom. What makes the Global Health Programme so interesting is that it also includes the exchange of students and staff with Manipal University in India and Thammasat University in Thailand. By working together, either by virtual interaction or participation in joint field projects, the program is not only global in terms of content, but also in people-to-people contact, enabling meeting colleagues with different backgrounds worldwide. In my position as honorary chair, I had the opportunity to meet with some of the students, and I was inspired by their enthusiasm and dedication. They told me about their cooperation in online learning pods. They told me, too, how they perceive their different backgrounds as a rich resource, and how interaction with their peers not only enabled the acquaintance with different perspectives, practices, and circumstances, but also providing an enriching intercultural learning experience. They have learned that borders and boundaries are there to be crossed. The networks and friendships formed in this way are the basis of long-lasting cooperation and can be a great support in the students' future careers and jobs. I encourage the international cooperation in healthcare worldwide. I'm delighted to hear that the partnership is considering including new partners so that in the end, all continents will be represented in this unique program. The honorary degree bestowed on me today serves as recognition for both Maastricht and McMaster University to engage enduringly in the pursuit of scientific knowledge and training of professionals in order to contribute to the promotion of health and healthcare worldwide. It is a tremendous honor for me to receive this doctorate, for just following my passion and stand for what I believe in. I want to reiterate that I'm very, very grateful. To conclude, I wish to congratulate the graduates of today. May we hear your voices, your multiple voices, in unison or responding to each other, working together for a better world. Care, share, and dare.
Thank you very much, Your Royal Highness, for those inspirational words. If I may say so, they're only exceeded by the inspiration of your life's work. You have done tremendous things for healthcare, for international healthcare. We're delighted to have you as almost a Canadian, but we're really delighted that you've come to accept a degree from this university today, and we count you as one of our celebrated alumni. Thank you very much.
Dr. Patrick Dean will now come forward to present the graduands to our Chancellor for admission to their degrees.
Will the graduands please stand? Mr. Chancellor, on behalf of McMaster University Senate, I present to you these candidates in order that you may confer the appropriate degrees upon them, and I bear witness that they are worthy and suitable.
Graduands, by my authority and that of the McMaster University Senate, I have the great pleasure to admit you to your individual degrees in McMaster University with all of the rights and privileges pertaining to those degrees. Congratulations.
Please be seated. Mr. Chancellor, on behalf of McMaster University Senate, may I also request that you confer the appropriate degrees in absentia upon all those candidates who have successfully completed the required course of study, but who are not present.
I declare all these degrees conferred in absentia.
Graduates, I now ask each of you to join me on stage so that the Chancellor and I may welcome you into the McMaster community of scholars.
Ladies and gentlemen, it would be appreciated if during the presentation of the graduands, you would hold your applause to the end of each degree category. Thank you. Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Doctor of Philosophy. Kemati Bharat. Lindsay Robin Kalin. Sean Singh Mangat. Simon Anthony McManus. Wendy Mock. Suzanne Osborne. Yulia Shulga. Sarah Michelle Chong. Bart Mazlikowski. Nicole Piskurik. Cassandra Megan Gardner. Nikola Todorovich. Sarah Susan Edge. Kathy Ann Fisher. Aman Paul Gill. Sandra Mikuchi. Ananya Tina Banerjee. Daniel Corsi. Ryan John van Lieshout. Michael Delicio. Lara Alexis Peluti. Daniel William David West. Anna Dronik. Jason Roy Fernandez. Michael Krostovsky. Andrea Lindsay Hines. Leah Elene Tsotsos. Michael Wong. Tammy Lee Cosman. Heather Kathleen Crone. Alan Ian Bainton. Robert Cockcroft. Yasuhiro Hasagawa. Catherine Aileen Ross. Meng Wu. Brandon Nicholas Aubie. Kathleen Ann Corrigal. Christopher Mark Fiacconi. James Luke Grafe. Briano Marco DeReze. And Danielle Elaine Levac. Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Master of Arts. Kimberly Ann Devota. Jareen Asan Isita. Benjamin William Chong Garden. And Adrian John Cleash.
Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Master of Science. Shira Hyman. Salman Ahmed. Nicole Banco. Beverly Diana Buzon. Jonathan Stewart O'Brien. Herlinder Kaur Takhar. Lauren Elizabeth Waller. Austin Alexander Brown. Carmen May K. Chung. Patrick William Doherty. Zillan LeBlanc. Asher Pasha. Judith Cowper Samoshi. Rosemary Elizabeth Veneur. Miriam Youssef. Rosemary Yu. Wenji Jing. Nicola Lukenda. Yan Yin Janice Chung. Porik Foley. Spencer Knight. Nicholas Luong. Yasser Sadie Hayanias. Martin Clark. Michelle Malone. Yamna Hamdi Hamdan Abdulrahman. Mark Brusenko. Kalyana Sundaram Giridharan. Uzma Batul Haider. Behruz Jamshariaria. Deepa Ann Matthew. Kenneth Nwasu. Hafsa Qureshi. Dwight A.R. York. Sarah Alexandra Aaron. Jaspreet Singh Awahuj. Reginald Ackrong. Alana Sharon Wright Beavis. Rafi Amin Chowdhury. Amanda Hewitt Ming Chu. Beth Crawford. Rihanna Dawood. Roberta Denise Draymond. Meghna Dua. Ali Enver. Amina Getty. Noel Hajar. Karolina Kovalevsky. Auburn Brianne LaRose. Brenda Araceli Lopez. Caitlin Alexandra McMaster. Albert Jeffrey Manolo. Natasha McNamara. Jared David Patty. Jessica Marie Salaturi. Stena Dushantatha Sotharatham. Jillian Mia Taras. Amanda Rachel Thompson. Jill Frances Washburn. Katia Wong. Deslin Wright. Alicia Sandra Zacharias. Said Sarah Akram. Raul Alonso Carrasco Labra. Usha Dutta. Sandeep Kaur Gill. Anihita Hadionzadeh. Ignacio Newman. Valerie A. O'Brien. Menaka Pai. Devin Reddy. Leanne Bellamy. Danielle D. Donato. Samantha Elizabeth Ibata. Matthew Ilario Betty. Lauren Aletha Didieu. Baven Craig Ferreira. Adela Gurga. Letitia Mikhaila Golubitsky. Michael Joseph Grubisic. Sophia Danielle Halasi. Janice He. Christopher Sean Henry.
Hui Lee. Susanna Masarova. Angelica Mendaglio. Subhashish Sengupta. Jerry Feng Zhang. Rory Blackler. Robert Curtis Clayton. Andrea Camila Granados. Jessica Louise Guaret. Anna Carroll. Tamara Crenetta. Sean Lauber. Tiffany Lee Layton. Christy Lee Lindsay. Maple Liu. Nicholas Joseph Mochellin. Mark Pistilli. Patricia Francoise Power. Elena Pretus. Laura Ramsing. Leanne Roddick. Lisa Saldana. Yarina Slorzuk. Jean-Yan Tu. Robert Gavin Ungard. Fiona Jane Whelan. Wanda Trong. Maria Suzanne Beam. Allison Cook. Karen Siraki. Laura Diane Duell. Karina Marie Gebauer. Michaela Jolene Grenier. Corey Diana Harris. Suzanne Jejernak. Barbara Lynn Jones. Nicole Marie Kelly. Catherine Ann Lassard. Carling Gary Provost. Karen Laura Simpson. Janet Truman Severns. Sarah Louise Cormier. Pac Lam Lee. Brittany June McDonald. Ibrahim Abu Atia. Sahar Darvish Mola. Olga Maria Donna Lemus. Natalia Moldovan. Daniel Arthur Sofer. Xin Yang. Angela Achitura. Dragana Boljanovich Susic. Joanne Elizabeth Fortin. Manraj Nirmal Kaur. Marie Ann Sioris. Carolyn Tinglin. Ashley Joel Bonner. Rola Salah El Sabal. Tao Wang.
Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Master of Science, Occupational Therapy. Kanishka Baduj. Rebecca Baldwin. Amanda Christina Bellero. Jessica Mary Baudouin. Diane Kimberly Beavis. Lisa Mary Blankhorn. Eric Edwin Bogensberger. Jacqueline Bull. Sarah Frida Kane. Teresa C. Couto. Amy Laurie Enns. Nicole Anser. Leanne Fernandez. Catherine Leslie Ruth Fisher. Alicia Gardner. Jillian Elizabeth Goodbrand. Emma Grace. Sarah Greenwood. Sheila Grescu. Caitlin Elizabeth Hamill. Lauren Harris. Dana Lee Henderson. Shanna Hudson. Ashlyn Kane. Quinn Clausen. Laura Kogan. Evelyn Costelz. Alisa Laddock. Ashley Ashika Lal. Elizabeth Katrina Marie Landman. Crystal Dawn Lazo. Nicole Amanda Lord. Leandra Lorello. Megan Mikason. Anne-Marie Muhick. Brianna Darlene Ogilvie. Rachel Pedros. Catherine Jean Rinker. Sarah Shalwani. Jennifer Sarah Seaman. Laura Elizabeth Snyder. Brittany Strauss. Amy Lynn Sweers. Gawain Michael Tang. Brenna Louisa Tonkin. Caitlin Marie Tui. Kent On Sui. Caitlin Suzanne Wakefield. Beverly Joanne Wasmond. Patrick Thomas Whalen. Alyssa Melanie Whitman. Sarah Lynn Winter. Jessica Yu. Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Master of Science, Physiotherapy. Mitchell Baldessarelli. Mary Ellen Baldner. Leanne Celine Beausoleil. Lawrence James Boma Fisher. Jeffrey William Boudreau. Monique Jacinto Coelho. Cassie Lee Como. Courtney Beth Conway. Tawn Kimberly Parker Dingwall. Joshua Friesen. Allison Fulton. Aaron Galway. Nicole Nadia Gleason. Madeline Golek. Shane Thomas Graham. Jonathan Hamill. Praful Handa. Catherine Jane Howard. Ying Hua Wong. Emma Jack. Christina Jerry. Jenna Ann Johnson. Catherine Andrea Kajirari. Jessie Marie Koopman. Phil Mario Lachance. Andrea Latter. Nicole Ann McDonald. Lauren McPhail. Nara Musad. Ellen McCarthy. Katrina Ann Josephine McLaughlin. Heather Alexis McNeil. Sajal Mistry. Nina Navacero. Nami Osakabi. Julia Pepe. Sen Hong Pang. Paul Stephen Platt. Christine Louise Poirier. Lauren Diana Ponterini. Samantha Lisa Potier. Cedric Klein Kwok. Michael Alexander Rosenblatt. Caitlin Ross. Colin Harrison Roos. Jake Richard Serieska. Laura Catherine Snyder. Inderjeet Takar. Megan Thistle. Emily Joyce Thorpe. Cesar Augusto Toledo. Robin Valadares. Karis Nicole Van Essen. Gorana Zubik.
Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Science Honours. Marlene B. Adhikari. Natasha Michelle Melina Baltazar. Rebecca Jane Blimke. Alisa Catherine Cantaruti. Mitchell Chow. Carson Richard Cochran. Ryan Lee Crawford. Paul Del Gorbo. Amrit Dillon. Emma Frances Ditchburn. Lauren Francis Ferruccio. Teresa R. Festin. Christian Alexander Fuschini. Jaskaran Garg. Brittany Ann Harding. Christopher Hayes. Sarah Ann Hennessy. Joyce Jin Ju. Olga Khalyapin. Heyum Khan. Viva Khatri. Surab Kogiani. Jacqueline Elizabeth Martins. Justin Michel. Asfand Yar Minhas. Yulia Ostrovsky. Kevin Juan. Amber Reeder. Ajay Shah. Nupur Soni. Neil Tangri. Saranya Thenisnawan. Vinitra Vithe Swaran. Junhao Wang. Angela Weng. Angela Minchin Zhao. Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Science Kinesiology Honours. On Andrew Thomas Bertram. Elvina Mai D'Souza. Mohammed Omar Shaban. Timothy Tereshin. David Varchuk.
Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree of the Bachelor of Science in Nursing. Nicole Natalie Blake. Brooke Elizabeth Fuller. Brooke Elizabeth Fuller. Kyla Annie Louise Gallagher. Jennifer Hamill. Agnes Honeybach. Caitlin Hartung. Wanda Johnston. Jennifer Lynn Joseph. Melissa Keir, Natalie Klein, Lisa Marie Langain, Ashton Leanne MacDonald, Jennifer Marie Montgomery, Renardo Smuliadi, Andrea Lee Murray, Juliet Nasuna, Michael Nazinski, Nicole Lee Odorico, Hugo Fundanega, Genevieve Estelle Paris, Isabel Perryman, Kirsty Robinson, Humaira Sharifi, Pantia Sobhani, Ashana Srikandaraja, Nathan Thomas, Lori Zozzoloto. Congratulations. So that's it. I don't need to say anything else? Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Science. Ali Alzati. Mohammed Ali Beg. Glenn Ryan Balding Musica. Alexandra Victoria Brodka. Alisa Marie Elizabeth Burns. Jinkai Chen. Remy Gascoigne. Jessica Lynn G. Douglas Philip Harvey. Christopher William Hoffman. Richa Kapadia. Silke Shi Yi Lee. Jackie Leung. Yash Anapkumar Nandola. Erin Nimani. Divya Arvind Prajapati. Nadine Mary Francis Sweeney. Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Science Kinesiology: Joshua Diamenti.
Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Health Sciences: Karthikeya Agarwal, Mark Douglas Bamberger, Apurva Bolu, DPN Chaudhary, Zhao Shu Chen, Beverly Mallory Chow, Eric Anthony Coombs, Genevieve Faye Cruz, Jordan Farag, Jordan Goodridge, Chris Hong, Liam Anton Jackson, Hira Jamshed, Ashish Kalani, Lisa Kim, Dilip Vaki Koshi, Jennifer Jinghua Kwan, Marissa Loriano, Nikita Malhotra, Farheen Manji, Faisal Nima Naji, Bhavika Patel, Amrit Singh Rai, Sunita Rai, Sarah Farida Sabri, Herman Young,
Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Health Sciences, Midwifery: Melissa Lynn Cobra, Natasha Singh,
Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduates of the degree Bachelor of Health Sciences, Physician Assistant. Matthew Bredner, Enoch Y.N. Cho, Elaine Marie Catherine Davison, Valerie Derbecker, Natalie Dyes, Joshua Edward Thomas Gilgan, Amanda Harrison Wong, Hanum Javed, Julie Kaspersky, Jody Marie Louise Kennedy, Jacob Cossis, Brent Lavin, Andrea Rose Lombardi, Tamara Lubeck, Blair Alexandra Myers, Syra Rashid, Sarah Elizabeth Sadler, Brittany Ann Shoup, Leandra Stringer, Danielle Nicole Swart, Na Tran, Enat Vinukur, Lauren Whalen, Angela Carubo Workman,
Mr. Chancellor, may I present to you the following graduate of the Graduate Diploma in Health Services and Policy Research, Valerie A. O'Brien.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to introduce to you Yulia Shulga, a PhD graduate of the School of Graduate Studies, who will be delivering the valedictory address.
Good afternoon, Chancellor Wilson, President Dean, faculty, friends, and fellow graduates. Class of 2012, Faculty of Health Sciences and Faculty of Science, congratulations on this joyful occasion. As many of you today, I am overfilled with honor, happiness, and thankfulness to my friends, family, teachers, and McMaster University. When I look back, I clearly remember the moment when I realized that I had chosen the right country to study in. It happened when for the first time I tried coffee and Timbits at Tim Hortons. And the first time when I realized that I had chosen the right university was when our department announced that all mandatory courses for the PhD program were canceled. On a serious side, I'm grateful to McMaster University for the unconventional and progressive way of education that allows students to maximize the time they focus on their research. As I stand here before you today, I can't help thinking that the place where I am now, I owe to many positive role models that influenced my life. And as a woman, I particularly want to emphasize on the female role models that I have had. And actually, it was so many wonderful and brilliant women and teachers around me that I sadly have to confess, by the age of 7, I had become some sort of female chauvinist. It was wrong, and not that I justify myself, but it was hard not to become one. When you looked at those first-grade girls diligently making notes, while those first-grade boys were making funny faces and pulling the girls' braids. But joking aside, I think I was very lucky to live in this small, happy bubble where people were not determined by their gender, until I became older and sorrowfully started to realize that it's not the case in many other places and countries. Something that I thought belongs to the medieval history textbook is still happening at present time in many developing countries and to some degree in Western countries. We don't probably feel it as much here, as Canada was recently ranked the best G20 country to be a woman. But many women in other countries are not so fortunate. As we graduate here today, we all have our dreams and hopes for our future. What I dream of today may sound cheesy to you, but I stand firmly by my dreams, as did Martin Luther King. I dream that soon the equal rights guaranteed on paper by laws will become a reality for every woman and every man of every race, nationality, ability, economic status, and sexual orientation. Does it sound unrealistic to you? So did the abolition of slavery, and so did the women's right to vote. Every new idea that imposes a change in society is met with fear, and at the beginning, it may seem crazy, ridiculous, or idealistic. I believe that each of us, by supporting and spreading the ideas of human rights, can take a part in creating the society of equal opportunities. After our graduation, we all will continue on different roads. Some of you may cure cancer. Some may discover a new elementary particle, while others may make a rewarding career at McDonald's. But I hope we all will remember that every human being has a heart, independently of race and gender. I wish all of you success and self-realization in whichever path you choose in your life. Congratulations, and thank you.
Dr. Shulga, thank you for putting into those wonderful words all the hopes and aspirations of the graduates here today. And now that you've mentioned Tim Hortons coffee or some other form of refreshment that might be awaiting us, let me assure Convocation that we are now in the home stretch. I'd now like to call upon Dr. Alison Secular, the Associate Vice President and Dean of the School of Graduate Studies, who will present the Governor General's Academic Medal.
Mr. Chancellor, Nicole Piskurik is this year's recipient of the Governor General's Academic Medal. This medal is awarded annually to the graduate student with the highest academic standing during the academic year. I ask you, and all those present join with me to express our recognition of her achievement.
Thank you, Melissa. Congratulations to you, Nicole. You must be a good student. And congratulations on your degree.
May I call upon Sandra Stevenson, the Vice President of the Alumni Association, who will present the Distinguished Alumni Award for Science and give the alumni address.
Mr. Chancellor, the 2012 McMaster University Distinguished Alumni Award recipient is Dr. John Bell. Though Dr. Bell may indicate that his greatest McMaster-based achievement was meeting his wife Sheila at the university, he also earned 2 master's degrees, an honors BSc in 1977 and a PhD in 1983. He trained as a postdoctoral fellow at the University of Ottawa and then at the National Institute for Medical Research in London, England. In 1986, Dr. Bell joined McGill University as an assistant professor, and then in 1989, he moved to the University of Ottawa's Department of Medicine as an associate professor. From 2000 to 2005, he served as senior scientist at the Ottawa Regional Cancer Centre and Cancer Care Ontario. He is currently a senior scientist at the Centre for Innovative Cancer Research at the Ottawa Hospital Research Institute and a professor of medicine at the University of Ottawa, where he has a cross-appointment to the Department of Biochemistry, Microbiology, and Immunology. He is also the director of the graduate program in Human and Molecular Genetics. Dr. Bell has built an international reputation for his work on identifying and characterizing certain types of animal viruses that specifically infect and kill cancer cells, giving them potential for use as cancer therapeutic agents. These so-called oncolytic viruses hold promise as treatments of various human cancers and as inoculations against certain types of cancer. In a 10-year period, Dr. Bell registered 18 patents related to this technology and delivered invited talks around the world, including at the Mayo Clinic, the Yale University School of Medicine, Busan National University in Korea, and in Cork, Ireland at the European Society of Gene Therapy. Dr. Bell heads the Canadian Oncolytic Virus Consortium, and I'm a lawyer, so this is really difficult for me with all an alliance that connects Canadian research groups working on developing virus-based cancer therapeutics. He's also the director of Biotherapeutics Program for the Ontario Institute for Cancer Research. In the private sector, he co-founded Generics Biotherapeutics, a biotechnology company that is developing an oncolytic vaccinia virus as a new therapeutic technique to treat cancers. In 2011, Dr. Bell received the Robert L. Noble Prize for Outstanding Achievement in Cancer Research from the Canadian Cancer Society, and a year earlier, he won the Dr. J. David Grimes Career Achievement Award from the Ottawa Hospital Research Institute for career contributions to science. McMaster University is proud to recognize Dr. John Bell with the 2012 Distinguished Alumni Award. McMaster faculty, fellow alumni, honored guests, and members of McMaster class of 2012. I am delighted to be able to welcome you to the alumni of McMaster University. Over the course of its 125-year history, our university has granted degrees at convocation ceremonies in Toronto, on the McMaster campus in Hamilton, and more recently here at Hamilton Place. Our chancellors have shaken hands with graduates during Queen Victoria's reign, the Great Depression, the World Wars, and the Internet age. McMaster students have become McMaster alumni in eras and circumstances that seemed unconnected to those before and after. Fashions, attitudes, learning styles, tuition fees, and yes, cafeteria food. Everything has changed. But regardless of the era, those alumni all, whether here for their undergraduate degree or postdoc, we all share a place in the McMaster family. We are connected from year to year, from decade to decade, from generation to generation, McMaster classes, one and all. Each and every McMaster class is unique and in truth shares only two things with all others. The first is the great potential you have as new graduates of one of the truly great universities in the world. Absolutely. The second is that we all share a history with McMaster, a familial connection and a responsibility to it and to each other to build on the legacy we inherited and to continue McMaster's story of excellence. Playing a role in extending that legacy is easier than it sounds. The most important thing that you can do is to contribute. Contribute to your professions, your avocations, your communities, and your families. Your achievements add shine to my degree and the degrees of everyone wearing a graduation gown today. The other thing you can do is to stay connected. That's why the McMaster Alumni Association is here today. You will have received a Convocation booklet which describes the programs and opportunities you have to stay connected with your alma mater and with your fellow grads. You can become part of the MAC 10, which is a comprehensive new program designed to meet the professional, social, and intellectual needs of graduates of the last decade. MAC 10 offers events, career services, mentorships, online resources, and other ways to connect. Watch for the Alumni magazine, the McMaster Times, in your mailbox and register for the new online community. There is a place for all of you in McMaster Alumni Association. Today, we celebrate your success as students and toast the promise of your bright futures as alumni. Your fellow MAC grads are proud of you already. We offer you our most sincere congratulations and a warm welcome to the McMaster alumni family, 125 years in the making.
I now invite Dr. Dean back to the podium to deliver the President's address.
Your Royal Highness, Mr. Chancellor, distinguished colleagues and guests, graduating students, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure to be able to speak to you today on what is for everyone a wonderful occasion. For our new graduates, this ceremony represents the culmination of years of assiduous work, challenges, difficulties, and triumphs, and it opens the way to the future that will no doubt contain more of the same. Because these, in various measure, and along with loves, longings, fears, and friendships, are the ingredients of any life, however and wherever it is lived. I know you will apply yourselves to that future with at least the same strength of character that has brought you to this point. But in approaching what lies before you, you now carry the benefit of your McMaster education, of all that it signifies and all that it can make happen. Take note of the way in which that last sentence ended. Several years ago, during an advancement campaign for the university, we took as our theme a quotation from the 20th century Irish poet William Butler Yeats. This is what Yeats wrote: "Education is not the filling of a vessel, but the lighting of a fire." All of us gathered on the platform here today, and all the members of the McMaster community that we represent, subscribe to the view that education is nothing if it is not a spur to activity, the awakening and nurturing of the power within each of you to think and to act beyond your present circumstances, to imagine what at present may be unimaginable, and to do what at present may seem impossible. Your education has given you no guarantees, I want to say to you today, but it has given you power, a formidable power to grasp and to shape your circumstances and your future. The parchments you've received today, the hoods which have been placed over your heads, these are the static symbols of something that is by its very nature active, destabilizing, and when we're living to our full human potential, perennially unsatisfied. You might want to call this thing the habit or the spirit of inquiry, but that leaves out another important consideration, namely our desire to command and to shape that which our habit of inquiry makes us want to understand. All great achievements, one might say, are in some way the result of the active and inquiring mind acting in concert with the shaping hand. In a great work of sculpture, a torso by Rodin, for example, or the Great Sphinx at Giza, we see the result of an intellectual interrogation of the possibilities of the medium expressing itself through the physical act of creation. Similarly, Frederick Banting discovered how to isolate and extract insulin when basic science and theoretical speculation on the cause and treatment of diabetes was supplemented by practical knowledge gleaned from his experience as a surgeon. What I say of your parchments and your hoods, I would also say of your degrees. They are tangible things and they have practical purposes, but they are also symbolic of something paradoxically more real, more enduring, and more empowering to you. And that is the capacity to encounter your world and your future with the full force of your person and your intellect, and through that encounter to shape and change what lies before you. When he admitted you to your degrees, the Chancellor noted that he was in the process conferring on you certain rights and privileges pertaining to those degrees. This is a very ancient formula, derived from the earliest days of European universities. And it signifies that as a new member of the Convocation of the university, you acquire a voice and directly or indirectly a role in the governance and direction of this institution. And that is a role which was just drawn attention to by our representative from the Alumni Association. I want to remind you that with rights and privileges come obligations. There is an old Spanish proverb according to which God gave mankind this message: take what you want, and pay for it. The right to membership brings with it the obligation to uphold and support not only the university, but also, much more critically, the work to which the university is dedicated. And that work is to serve the good of society by the exercise of the inquiring mind and the shaping hand. Our hope today is that you will move on to the next stage of your lives profoundly capable and vividly aware that you are capable of addressing the great challenges of our society and our planet. This is your obligation. According to a study last year from Harvard University and the Asian Development Bank, only 6.7% of the world's population has a college degree. In the United States last year, 42% of 25 to 64-year-olds had achieved higher education, whereas across the OECD countries, the figure was lower at 31%. Here in Ontario, as many of you may know, our government has dedicated itself to creating the conditions that will enable the province to reach a 70% attainment rate. Think of yourself as part of the 70%, or even the 42% or the 31%, and the privilege of holding a degree will not seem so considerable. However, think of yourself in the global context. Think of yourself as part of the 6.7%, and you will feel inordinately privileged. You will feel, furthermore, the obligation that comes with that privilege. I suppose my point is that the privilege of an education brings with it the obligation to lead. I'm a little embarrassed to say that, however, because there are few words bandied around in our culture that have been so drained of meaning as has leadership. We've even become used to thinking of leadership as a teachable subject in itself. I wish it were not true, but I recently heard someone described as a leader in the field of leadership. Now, if there are those in the audience like myself who have watched The Simpsons over the years, you may be reminded of a character from The Simpsons some years ago who received an award for outstanding achievement in the field of excellence. Talk of leadership so often lands us in a jungle of such tautologies. In the last several months, we've had many opportunities to ponder and to compare examples of leadership in the political realm. The US presidential election attracted the attention of Canadians in a way our own elections rarely do, and it provided two starkly different models for leadership, two very different visions for the American people, indeed for the world. In Ontario, the resignation of our Premier has required the province to focus on leadership as both a matter of record and a prospect for the future, while in China, a very different political system has entered into a challenging but very well choreographed period, defining leadership and naming leaders. In Ukraine, an election was recently concluded from which perhaps the most potent force for democracy, and the heroine of the Orange Revolution, so-called, the former Prime Minister Yulia Tymoshenko, was excluded by virtue of languishing in jail, having been convicted on charges and in a process that had been condemned by the Council of Europe. Also in Europe, the German Chancellor Angela Merkel finds herself challenged to act both for the good of her country and the broader good of Europe, and is in the process reviled by some of those she seeks to help. But much less dispiritingly, in India a few days ago, the former persecuted dissident and now Burmese opposition leader Aung San Suu Kyi made her first visit to India in 40 years. Ms. Suu Kyi will be visited by President Obama later this month, further confirmation of her changed fortunes as person and as leader, and of her nation's altered position in the constellation of states. Aung San Suu Kyi provides a brilliant example of leadership understood not as an external attribute, but as a condition of intellectual and personal cultivation. Even under house arrest for 15 years, she was paradoxically able to fashion a new future for her country, one which we now see taking shape, but which was for a long time realizable only in her imagination. Ms. Suu Kyi, like Nelson Mandela before her, testifies to the enigmatic nature of leadership, of its indomitability, and in particular, its curious link to self-effacement. and testifies also to the diversity of its forms. I want to conclude by observing that notwithstanding the variety of its manifestations, successful leadership has at its heart the same capacity for thinking and making, analyzing and shaping that is the essence and enduring part of your McMaster education. We do not expect that every graduate today will make headlines in the world press, nor that all will aspire to and eventually achieve high office. What is expected, though, is that confident in your capability, you will go through life applying your inquiring mind to your circumstances, and with your hands, making this glorious, piebald, complex, tragic, and perpetually changing world a better place, in and for itself, as the planet on which we are fortunate enough to find ourselves, and for all of us who travel together on its course through space and time. My very best wishes go with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President Dean, reminding us all that with the stages we go through in life, there are obligations created for all of us. And that's especially true for those in the room today who are graduating with your first diplomas. It is a mark of success, but it's also a mark of obligation to contribute and to lead. Thank you for reminding us of that. The Provost said that we were in the home stretch. Well, we are, I can assure you. I would like to also once again thank Her Royal Highness for gracing us with her presence today, for her inspirational words, and for all that she contributes to the field of healthcare and health in the international community, and to the partnership between Maastricht and McMaster. Thank you for that. I am all that stands between all of you and some refreshments. I realize that. It has been a successful afternoon. I'd like to just comment on some of the enthusiasm, if I may, Dean Kelton. Normally the nurses are the most enthusiastic of the graduating faculties. Today I noticed that occupational health, physiotherapy were also. So I look forward to the convocations next June, when, as you know, the final day features a contest between the nurses and the engineers to see who can be most enthusiastic about the day. So with that, I would announce that flowers that have been delivered for graduates will be available at the coat check in the main lobby. I'd ask you to please remain standing at your seats until the academic procession and the graduates have left the hall. I'd ask you to rise now and join with me in the singing of our national anthem. After the singing of the anthem, this convocation stands adjourned.
Going you.